Welcome to the world where innocence hides terror and legends aren't locked away. This is the chilling, unbroken tale of Annabelle the doll whose stitched smile cloaks a legacy of fear. IT starts, as all haunting things often do, with something so ordinary it's nearly invisible, raggedy, and was never meant to inspire nightmares. With a soft, plush body, orange yarn hair, and a childlike smile, she was made for laughter and lullabies. She was the toy that echoed simpler times America, mid-20th century, when children would clutch her tightly for comfort, not flinch in dread. Her smile was sewn for affection, never for the twisted shadows that would one day claim her. But legends are born from the heart of the unexpected. In 1970, in the city of Hartford, Connecticut, a nursing student named Donna unknowingly invited terror into her home. Her mother, ever thoughtful, picked up the doll as a birthday gift from a secondhand hobby store. There was nothing unusual about it. No whispers, no chill in the air. Just a mother's love wrapped in cotton and thread. Donna adored her present, displaying it with pride in the small apartment she shared with her close friend Angie. They were both young, bright, and ambitious, never suspecting that their new companion would soon become the centerpiece of a story whispered for decades. The first signs were subtle, so subtle that the mind might brush them aside. Donna would leave Annabelle on her bed in the morning and return to find her on the sofa in the living room. At first, it seemed like a simple mistake. Maybe Donna moved her and forgot. Maybe Angie picked her up absent-mindedly. But as days bled into nights, the doll's movements became stranger. Annabelle was found by the kitchen window, then seated neatly in Donna's closed bedroom, or leaning against Angie's door as if listening on secrets. Each location was curious, always just a bit, often a laugh, a shrug. Rationality was a comfort, the kind only science and habit can provide. But soon, explanations wore thin. The boundaries of what could be explained began to shift slowly, like shadows at dusk point one afternoon. As Donna arrived home, a chill gripped her heart. There, atop the bed where Annabelle usually sat, were pieces of parchment paper, each bearing a single desperate plea, "Help me." The message was fraught with childlike scrawl, but neither Donna nor Angie used parchment or owned any in their apartment. The discovery was unnerving, but their lives were busy and they managed for a while to write it off as an unexplainable but harmless curiosity. But the strangeness grew, crawling across the boundaries of the ordinary into something deeply sinister. Blood. It's impossible to ignore blood, even if it's only a trickle, only a stain. One evening, Donna returned from work to find Annabelle sitting as usual, except for the gruesome, wet splotches of red staining her cloth hands. It seemed the liquid had come from inside the doll. This was no prank and no accident. Donna's skepticism began to splinter. The air turned thick with unease, dread seeping into every moment. Angie, too, felt the heaviness. They knew they needed help before their unease hardened into terror. IT was Angie's boyfriend, Lou, always skeptical and uneasy in Annabelle's presence, who suffered the most. Lou admitted to Angie more than once that he felt the doll was evil, dangerous in a way he couldn't define. His nightmares became more vivid. Annabelle looming over his chest, eyes blank and unfeeling. One night, awakened by those dreams, Lou found himself sweating, breath rapid. When he sat up, he heard a rustling from Donna's room. Convinced a burglar had slipped in, Lou steeled himself and quietly entered. The door creaked on its hinge and revealed nothing save for Annabelle, sitting innocently on a chair as he approached. A suffocating sense of dread overwhelmed him. Before he could react, a burning pain ripped across his chest. Lou staggered back, clutching at his shirt as deep, bloody claw marks welled up on his skin. Fresh, raw, and incomprehensible. There was no one else in the room. The wounds healed within days, without a scar, but the fear remained. This was not the work of pranks or nightmares anymore. Lou insisted that they needed professional help. With nowhere left to turn, Donna and Angie contacted a medium, a last, desperate attempt to understand what had invaded their lives. The séance was tense, thick with anticipation and mounting dread. The medium's words were chilling. The spirit of a little girl, Annabelle Higgins, had fused herself with the doll. Her body had been found decades ago, not far from where Donna and Angie's apartment now stood. The child's spirit was drawn to the comfort and love she had lacked in life. Moved by pity, the girls agreed to let her stay, believing compassion would bring peace. But compassion, it turned out, was ammunition for the darkness lurking beneath. The attacks escalated. Scratches, objects moving, cold spots in the apartment. Lou continued to dream of the doll attacking him, of hands wrapping around his throat, of breathless panic in the dead of night. Terrified, Donna and Angie made their final call for spiritual intervention. The Catholic Church responded, sending Father Hagen to bless the apartment and assess the situation. But even he felt the limits of his power, and soon involved Fathers and Ed and Lorraine Warren. Well-known paranormal investigators and demonologists, Ed and Lorraine's arrival marked a turning point, replacing ambiguity with terrifying clarity. They pronounced their judgment. The doll was not haunted by a benevolent child, but rather by something inhuman, an evil force masquerading as innocence, seeking a human host, the Warrens explained. Spirits do not possess objects. They possess people, and in human presence can attach to an object, using it to manipulate and terrorize until its real aim, the possession of a soul, is within reach. The doll's movement, the notes, the attacks, all were tactics to erode their will, to invite demonic infestation. The exorcism was arranged. Father Cook performed the rite, cleansing the apartment with prayers and holy water. Annabelle sat inert among the church's sacred words, Sone's smile unchanging, but the air seemed to crackle with malice. The ritual complete, Ed and Lorraine took charge of the doll. They placed her in the back seat of their car, intending to deliver her to their Connecticut Occult Museum. Even the journey home was a struggle. The car's engine stalled, the brakes failed, more than once almost causing disastrous accidents. Only when Ed sprinkled the doll with holy water did the disturbances stop. The Warrens reached their home, exhausted but determined to contain her evil. For a time, Annabelle resided in Ed's study. There, the doll continued her campaign, levitating above the desk, shifting positions between rooms, watching from shadowed corners. Doors would close, lights flicker, nothing was steady. The Warrens constructed a glass and would case emblazoned with the Lord's Prayer and St. Michael's Prayer. Sealing Annabelle within on her new prison was inscribed a warning. Positively, do not open. Yet her influence persisted. Visitors to the museum were reminded to treat the doll with respect. One priest picked up Annabelle and declared, laughing, that she was only a doll and that evil owned no dominion over him. On his drive home, his brakes failed. The car tumbled end over end. The priest survived, but the lesson was clear. Another visitor, brash, disbelieving, tapped on Annabelle's case and joked about the stories. On his way home, he and his girlfriend crashed their motorcycle into a tree. He died instantly. She would later claim that they were mocking Annabelle at the time of the accident. With each story, the myth swelled. The occult museum became the destination for curious thrill seekers, believers, and skeptics alike. And always, Annabelle was there, unmoving, yet never stilled at IN life. Both Ed and Lorraine Warren devoted years to spreading word of the dangers contained in their museum. For them, Annabelle was the most dangerous object in their care. After their passing, the responsibility fell to their daughter Judy and her husband Tony Spera. Tony issued the same warnings. Annabelle was not to be trifled with. Laughter and scorn were no guard against the darkness she had unleashed. Still, Annabelle's story was far from over. The doll's reputation spilled into popular culture, exploding in the public imagination. Director James Wan was inspired to create the Conjuring universe, with Annabelle at its center, a Hollywood monster, porcelain-faced and hellish, far more dramatic in appearance than the real cloth doll with an orange nose and wide, innocent eyes. In the movies, Annabelle left a trail of carnage, possession, and death that eclipsed her quiet, crawling presence in reality. But reality, as always, refuses to relinquish its grip. The museum's doors may close, stories may be debunked, and skepticism may rise, but Annabelle's legend persists. Social media flared with rumors of her escape every few years, especially after zoning troubles forced the museum to limit public visits. Each time, Tony Spera would assure the world Annabelle was still contained, but if she ever left, there would truly be cause for fear. For those who believe, Annabelle remains the embodiment of all that is mysterious, evil, and uncontrollable, a child's doll that wears the mask of innocence while plotting eternally in shadow. For skeptics, she is a case study in mass belief, in how stories take flight and grow roots in the imagination. But for Donna, Angie, and Lou, the first to witness her power, there is no question. Annabelle is real. Whispered stories, chills down the spine, warnings in the night. Annabelle's legacy is alive. She sits in her glass case, hands forever stained, a silent testament to the power objects can wield when darkness slips through the cracks of the ordinary. If you visit the Warrens Occult Museum now, you might see Annabelle. She will greet you with her sewn smile and lifeless eyes, watching, always waiting. And just beneath the surface, beyond the warning sign, there is a question no one dares to answer. If she gets out, what would she do next? So this is the tale of Annabelle, the doll whose history is written in whispers, blood, and unimaginable fear. A warning to all that sometimes evil wears the softest disguise. Thank you for listening to this story on English Stories, where legends breathe and darkness always finds a way in.